Guess what? As you know, Mr. Rich 20 here has officially turned 30. I've been getting a lot of questions about what I've learned over the last decade, specifically regarding money. And so I put together a list of 10 different insights that I've gleaned over the past decade of living from 20 to 30, and I think you're really gonna like them. Now, special note, this list will be specifically and particularly helpful for entrepreneurs and creatives. Let's dive right in. First and foremost, this is what I have number one on my list. It's that money is both a mental construct and it's also a form of energy. I hate to break it to you, and you probably already know this by now, but money is not real.
You're a little light here, Dad.
I'm good for the rest, you know I am.
Money is simply a representation of value. And throughout the years, throughout various cultures and various histories of different civilizations, we've always had bartering tools. The current system we use is essentially electronic or digital bartering system. And we all know that the banks don't actually have all the dollars or all the pounds or all the gold in their vaults that they do deposits of other people's money. We all know that when a mortgage company lends you money, they're not actually physically giving the money from their bank account to another person's bank account. They're just making electronic transfers. Money is controlled very tightly by a small group of corporations and government organizations, and is reported on and interpreted in a very specific way by the media. The economy is a product of both the actual goings-ons of the financial world and the perception of those realities by the media.
There are no third worlds. There is no West. There is only one holistic system of systems. One vast and immane, interwoven, interacting, multivariate, multinational dominion of dollars.
And maybe we don't all know this, so it's very important for you to recognize the nature of money and realize also that because it's not real, because it's something that we're making up, we shouldn't let it control our thoughts. Because while money is simply a mental construct and it's made up, it also is a very powerful agent of change. A lot of times money becomes a cloud in our lives. Oh. It doesn't need to be like that, and we are making all of this up, and if you know that, then it's going to give you a lot of ease and a lot more calm. Even in situations where money couldn't buy happiness, money can certainly create more opportunities where you can then have more options, more choices. You can create the things that money can't provide. You're going to be able to create the happiness if you have more resources. As you become more personally and intellectually free, you'll create things that will lead to better and better value for you and the rest of humanity. So this brings me to my second insight, and it's that time is money, but money is also time. Tim Ferriss talked about this years ago in 4-Hour Workweek. He's a big advocate of outsourcing things and getting assistants to do work. And you know what? It really is something that's highly undervalued by people who just have never considered it before. Money is a token, like we were saying before, and it can be used as a tool to buy back your time. If you can create relationships with people around you, it's the easiest way to leverage yourself quickly, and that will save you time. You'll get there faster. And so money is time. You have to pay those people, and so you use that money, right, that you're getting to pay others to create more time for you by offloading that work. Being able to employ others to create in your interests, create in your own interests. We all have these creative visions for our lives, these things we aspire to do, but the simple fact is we can't do them all alone. Although it's not real, although we're using different representations of it to trade it, everything from Bitcoin and Ethereum to the US dollar to the lira, it all comes down to energy. So this is a very key insight because I didn't realize this for quite a while, and I didn't realize what the true nature of having this money and building people around me was until I started paying others, acting as an employer. And this is something that you'll soon come to realize.
It is the international system of currency which determines the totality of life on this planet.
When you hire people to do this work, it gives you a ton of time back because one, you're not doing it anymore, and two, you have more energy, so it creates better results when you are doing the work, right? You're only doing the important work, and because that's all you're focusing on, you're much more energized. And so common things are like getting people to manage your email for you, to to like organize different assets of your business for you, or to, you know, make phone calls for you. I mean, my personal assistant, Jeremiah, he runs my life basically, and he helps me to, you know, get all the things done that would slip through the cracks if I wasn't 100 people. Okay, so let's get practical for a minute. Let's get tactical, in fact. You know as well as I know that you should be reading more books. Hello, like, that's my big thing, you need to read. But specifically, you need to read a book called Profit First. Profit First is by this guy named Mike Michalowicz. This book is specifically for entrepreneurs who are learning how to structure their businesses and like really create a business finance awareness. Really understand where your cash is, how much you're making, and how to make a lot more. This is a book I read 4 years ago now, and I'm still benefiting every single day from the systems I implemented with this book. Okay, next insight is about saving. A lot of times people think of saving as depriving themselves of something, but saving is really just a combination of consciously spending less and then also earning a bit more. Consciously spending less, what does that mean? Well, it just means that you should just become aware of every dollar that goes out of your account and what you're buying. A lot of us have, you know, a dozen or more subscriptions on our account at any given time. And there are probably some things that you're not using or you're not using frequently enough to justify. And so you might be able to eliminate some of those expenses. You might also be able to kind of just see key areas where you're overspending a bit, and you can be honest with yourself, you know? It's not about criticizing yourself or coming from judgment. It's about looking at your bank account each month and saying, you know, what did I spend on and what would I like to improve? And if you can be honest with yourself about what you're spending on and where you can spend a bit less, and only you will know this by looking at your statement, then that will be just a great step in one, becoming more open with yourself, which is essential for all this to work, and two, also decreasing just a little bit what you're spending. And because the next part about saving really is earning a bit more. I talk about this a lot in my book. Oh, I just happen to have one right here.
Really on the plug, really on the plug.
And the idea is that you want to have at least a few different streams of income. If one job right now, you need to have a side hustle. If you have a business, you should probably have a few different areas where that business can make money. When you have that, you can always make a little bit more at will. If you just have one thing, it's gonna be harder for you to turn up the volume. But if you have more than one resource or more than one stream of resources coming in, then you can easily create more when you want to. That's something to think about. And if you want more details on how to do that, just read my freaking book. And actually, this ties in perfectly with point number 5, and it's that you can always make more. I mean, that money is one of those things that can be very discouraging, especially when we lose money or don't feel like we're making it as quickly as we'd like to. Money is something that once you master, you can certainly always make more. As you become more proficient with it, it'll be just like any other skill. It'll be something that you master, something that you enjoy, something that treats you well, something that feeds you. It will be something that you control and you have control over rather than letting it control you. So point number 6, this is another insight that I think is super practical as well, and as you want to separate your business finances from your personal finances ASAP. Obviously, I filmed this video for entrepreneurs, and I specifically mean you guys. You want to separate your personal and your business as soon as possible. It's all too tempting, especially when you're doing just a service-based business and it's just you or just you and a few other people. It's very tempting to just kind of keep it into one big bucket of money and then just like spend it on what you need it. But it doesn't work like that. It doesn't work well. Because if you do it like that, if you set your bank system up where it's basically just like one big account and you're just paying for things, even if you're making a lot of money, you're not gonna really know what's going on, and it's not gonna be easy for you to make the best financial decision. And that's a whole thing in Profit First that Michalowicz talks about, where he's like, look, if you're looking at your bank account as just one big pool, you're not gonna have the systems in place to see what's coming, to understand your cash flow. To the next point, the next insight, I think number 7 we're on now, and it's that you have to check in with your accounts every single day. I do what's called dashboard with myself, where I look through all my different bank accounts, all my different investment accounts, all my different like vital financial and personal informational accounts every single morning. I like to look at this stuff every day, and I realized that if you check out your balances and your accounting and your finances every single day, especially in the beginning when you're trying to master this stuff, you kind of overcome some of your fear of your own money. Like, we're scared of our own money because we don't check in on it. We don't really know how to make more. We're concerned that we're gonna lose some. And because of that, sometimes we don't even look on our money as much as we should because we don't wanna engage with it. We don't even want to think about it. Well, that's not the way to make more. The way to make more is to realize that it's your tool and that you're going to use it as such, and to do that you have to check in on it. The reality is, if there is a problem with it and you're super low on money right now and it's just not working out for you, you need to be acutely aware of that too, and you need to not bury your head under the fact that it's not the best situation right now. You need to confront it like a leader every single day, and once you do that, it'll be easier to slowly pull yourself out of the situation, but you're not going to get there by not looking at the money. Handle simple things while they're small. Handle them before they become big problems. A lot of the things that bring us down they start off as small problems. Nuisances like unpaid parking tickets, go check my vlog. These things start small. They always start as small warnings and they turn into big problems if left unchecked. No one's ever gotten anywhere by burying their head in the sand. It's a big thing with, I believe, younger people in money. It's that we are, again, afraid of it, and when we don't confront it, it becomes a bigger problem than it should be, because again, it's our tool to use. So point number 9, I want to make a distinction between rich and wealthy.
Look at my chandelier. It's $2 million. It's made out of expensive chicken dinners I've eaten over the years.
You can get rich fairly easily, and I don't mean that it's necessarily common, but I mean that there are lots of paths to getting rich. Getting rich, you can work really hard for a few years to a lot of years. You can get lucky, and it can happen very quickly if you have a great idea or someone that funds a project that blows up. But getting wealth comes from a longer term mentality. You don't get overnight wealth. I mean, typically not, unless you're gonna marry into, the royal family. Wealth is a mentality that comes from a combination of like moderation on a day-to-day basis. It's not always the case, but it also comes from a perspective of investment. Long-term investment in things that are gonna be profitable for years to come, and not just things that are immediately gratifying. There's lots of things you can invest in. Of course, like the basic thing is just getting a portfolio with some mutual funds, understanding the basics about stocks, just doing your own due diligence on that, researching that, reading that, understanding different types of equities, understanding how the real estate game works on a basic level, understanding kind of what goes on in different financial markets, like having just a broad understanding so you can be, again, familiar with and comfortable with those terms, and then finding an area where you want to invest your money. What I'm very interested in right now is real estate. I want to begin investing in a lot of different types of commercial and residential real estate. That's where I'm directing my energy, and I know that it's not something that's going to immediately pay off. It's a long-term play. It's to create wealth around, lots of different things that aren't just the cash that comes from my business. Even the best businesses can become volatile quite quickly. What seems strong one day might not be in the long run, but wealth is built on a foundation of a long-term interest. So people that I notice that have wealth have calm to them, not because of the amount of money they've accumulated, but because they know that the decisions that they've made so far and that they'll continue to make are going to lead them down a steady path of measured accumulation. It starts for me with real estate. You figure out where it starts for you. In fact, drop in the comments where you're investing. I'm curious to know. Well, this brings us on home to point number 10, which is also our final insight, and it is that we must be both the student and the master of money. Money is a tool. Money is a servant. We must learn how to control it, how to understand it, how to grow it, how to be responsible for it, how to shepherd it, how to save it, how to invest it. These are skills that we can learn. Some people are born with a little bit more aptitude towards this simply because they're born into families that already know about this stuff. Some people don't have that, so you have to learn. If you don't know about that stuff, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility to go learn. To master it, you must also be its student. You're watchful of what it does, and you understand that even though it's not real, it does have value, and you respect it. Students respect teachers. Students respect their elders. And you have to respect money. I hope that these insights gave you some deeper ways to think about money. I'd really love to hear what point was the most useful to you. What insight was the most valuable? And I also want to know what you've learned from this. So leave a comment below. Make sure to subscribe. Share this video with a young friend of yours, or maybe possibly a friend who's still on a journey who needs to see this. And let me know what you think. All right, so I appreciate you guys. Much love. If you haven't gotten my book, check it out. It's on Amazon. It's in bookstores all over the world. Rich 20-something. That link is also in the description below. Much love. I appreciate you guys, and I'll see you later.
Draped in our designer, draped in our designer, draped in our designer, draped in our